Okay, got it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the public hearings of the Environment and Transportation Committee. I'm your friendly chairman, Kumar Barve. I'm joined by my equally friendly vice chairman, Dana Stein. Well, at least I think I am. He's here someplace. And the happy-go-lucky members of the committee are trickling in. And this is the order of the bills. We're going to hear House Bill 1215 first, Delegate Howard, Senate Bill 713, Senator Riley. I think those two bills are identical or close to it, followed by Senate Bill 86, Senator Hester. Senate Bill 171 and 190 are departmental bills, and they are out of the EHEA committee. And then finally, Senate Bill 497, Senator Gallion. So I understand that Delegate Howard is with us in the House. Delegate, welcome back to the committee. You have 4 minutes, sir.
Thank you. I won't need maybe a quarter of that. Thank you, Chair. Colleagues, good to see you guys. For the record, Delegate Howard, happy to present House Bill HB 1215. Essentially, this bill allows for archery to be used in Anne Arundel County when it comes to harvesting snakehead, which is an invasive species. This was brought to me by DNR. It is cross-filed with Senator Riley. I believe SB 713, that is a cross-file. You should have a letter of support from the agency and the delegation. The delegation took a vote last Friday, and it was unanimous.
Yes, just to put this out there into the interwebs, we don't schedule public hearings on these kind of bills unless we first get a letter. Okay. And we've got the letter, so that's perfect. Cool. No one else has signed up to testify in favor of the bill. A couple of people are signed up for written opposition, but are there any questions from our friend Delegate Howard? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. That's the end of the public hearing on House Bill 1215. Now we welcome our first senator to testify before our committee this year, our good friend, Senator Ed Riley. Senator, always a pleasure to have you here. You have 4 minutes, but I doubt you'll need that probably.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The delegate did a very good job. The issue is on protected rivers and streams in Anne Arundel County. There's restrictions on using anything but a hook and a line, because we don't want to use those breeding grounds for perch and other native fish. So this is a little bit of an exception. We know that the northern snakehead is invasive. It is prolific. This is designed to be very targeted. I have one amendment on my Senate bill. Just want to bring it to your attention, because it specifically identifies the northern snakehead. You can't use this bow and arrow to shoot striped bass or any other fish. It's very narrowly defined. Would appreciate a positive vote from ENT. Thank you.
Okay, and Delegate Howard, I presume that you're probably okay with that amendment?
Yeah, I was just telling my staff, well, I'll accept that amendment.
Okay, cool. Any questions for the senator? Seeing none, let me bring this up here. Okay, seeing none, thank you so much to both of you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, let's next go to Senate Bill 86, Senator Hester. Welcome back to the committee.
Thank you so much, Chair Barbe, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Katie Fry Hester, pleased to present Senate Bill 886. And I'd like to thank Delegate Fraser Hidalgo for cross-filing it as HB 1395. As many of you know, our state parks have seen a significant jump in use during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we've also discovered a problem. Currently, DNR land tenants are not required to allow access to public trails that cross their leased property. Across the state, some folks have placed fences, barbed wire, and even abandoned rusted machinery at trailheads. And these actions are in direct conflict with the fundamental principle of the park's mission statement to encourage the use and enjoyment of nature by Marylanders. The difficulty accessing public trails that cross leased property also presents a health and safety issue. On one hand, bikers, horseback riders, or joggers can be discouraged from utilizing these trails should they be available to them, because they can't get onto them, and they may injure themselves trying to get around current obstructions. In these situations, these same obstructions may also prevent first responders from reaching the trail users who could require medical attention. Luckily, there's a common sense solution. Senate Bill 86 will require that a single clause be added to DNR leases, such that tenants must leave an unobstructed, access to their trailheads on their property. This will ensure that trail users and first responders can utilize the trails as the state intends. It would also require the department to submit a report of all the executed leases to DGS to verify the clause has been included. I did see an email string this morning that was sent to the chair and vice chair with clarifying amendments, which I see as aligned with the bill's intent. And I understand that the subcommittee may add to them during their deliberative process. In summary, hiking and other activities should be allowed by the trails, should be allowed on our state parks, and everybody should be able to access them. With that, I would ask for your favorable report on Senate Bill 86.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Senator. We'll go to the witnesses signed up in favor, and then we'll entertain questions. So next, let me introduce and welcome Kim Egan with the Maryland Horse Council. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me testify. I'm the co-president of the Maryland Horse Council. We are the trade association for the horse industry in Maryland. We support this bill because, in our opinion, it's a narrowly drawn public safety bill to make sure that everybody using our trails, a number of people we expect to increase, not just because of the pandemic, but because of the improvements and investments the state is making through the Great Maryland Outdoors Act, et cetera, to keep them all safe and to make sure that first responders can get into the parks to access people who need help as they are enjoying our outdoors. It doesn't add any additional obligations to either DNR or the tenants. It simply requires people to maintain the status quo ante. And we would urge you to issue a favorable report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for the senator or the witness? Well, seeing none, I guess, Katie, that...
I got one, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, excuse me, Delegate Jacob. I thought you'd be free to go there, Katie, but not quite. Delegate Jacobs.
We can't let them all go free.
Okay, I agree.
So, Senator, good to see the senators come over and present some bills. Have you read the letter of information from DNR about their concerns on the potential impact on some of their leases, especially on, I think I was just reading it, the wildlands, the leased lands they have, I think more so on the southern eastern shore than other places, but there's about, I believe, 12,000 leases that would be impacted by this.
So I don't have their letter in front of me right now, but my recollection is that they may have interpreted the bill as requiring a border around the entire property, and that is not our intent. Our intent is that there simply must be sufficient access on the property to get to the trailhead. I don't know if Ms. Egan would have anything to add to that.
All I would add is that, if I may, this would be access to existing DNR designated trailheads. So DNR presumably has already identified these as public access points.
All right. Well, I was just reading in DNR's letter of information that says we estimate 100 agricultural leases are impacted by the bill. The bill reduces lease revenue by.
You know, Jay, you've been muted for the last 30 seconds. You're still muted.
There, okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I don't know what happened. You know, I forgot to put my tin hat on again. Anyhow, in the fiscal notice says DNR estimates 100 agricultural leases, 12,000 acres that are impacted by the bill. It reduces the revenue by $1,000 per lease due to reduced acreage. And then it talks about it would decrease the lease value on over 200 hunting leases on Chesapeake Forest lands, as well as cause a negative impact on state forests. So I'm just wondering if you have had addressed that issue with DNR, or what say you on that issue?
I have not spoken directly to DNR. I'd be happy to. Like I said, I believe it's a misinterpretation of the bill. I did proactively reach out to the Farm Bureau, and they have taken no response. In fact, their legislative, liaison said that it seemed like a common sense solution to him. And I have a number of farmers in my district. I would not do anything that I thought would put in any kind of, onerous mandate on a farmer.
I thank you for that. Mr. Chairman, could I see Bunky Luffman's on the call?
Sure.
Could we ask him to respond to the?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
My question.
Direct a question to him.
Sure. Bunky Luffman, Legislative Director from Department of Natural Resources. I think that the senator is right. Our concern was it specifically, one point in the bill says maintain a border around the property sufficient to allow unobstructed access to the trailheads, et cetera. So part of some of our staff said, well, the way this is worded, even though we know the intent is trailheads, it could be interpreted since it says around the property. That was what triggered our concern, was that wording.
All right, so you're comfortable with the senator's testimony on what her intent was? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the intent, but I'll talk to the senator and to our staff to see if maybe we can tweak the wording just to make it more clear. And I guess through this testimony, I understand there's potential other amendments that may be coming. So,
all right, thank you very much.
It's the same, the amendment that was circulated this morning addresses that same exact clause, line 24 on page 2, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for the senator, the witness, or Bunky? If not, thank you so much. That ends the public hearing on Senate Bill 86. Now we're going to have Senate Bill 171, which is a departmental bill, and I'm not exactly, is Tyler going to introduce this bill? Who's presenting this bill?
So Secretary Grumbles is here on the call, and he's going to present the bill.
All right, great.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. We can see you too.
Well, I apologize for that, but thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of our bill. This is not complicated. It's a modest step to continue to modernize our department's approach to public hearings, to ensure that having an option for a virtual hearing is available. And in fact, this bill would allow us to host a virtual public hearing in lieu of an in-person hearing unless an in-person hearing is requested. We would always want to do outreach to the community through notifications about upcoming hearings. But this bill is really designed to tap into a lesson learned in our department, in our state, and around the nation during the pandemic of the value, the increased transparency and inclusivity of offering virtual hearings. And not having to have a public hearing if no one's going to be there, or there are extremely costly and burdensome efforts for the public to participate in an in-person actual hearing. The bill would also allow us to hold virtual hearings if another state of emergency is to be declared by federal, state, or local government in which the hearing will take place. There's also a provision in Title II to remove the certified mail that is sent to local jurisdictions within a mile of the proposed source of air pollution. And this does not remove the requirement to mail notices. It just allows us to use regular mail instead, which could save the department some money and time. Again, Mr. Chairman, we feel like this is a good government, increased transparency, modernization of IT bill, and we would urge every member to be supportive of it. And Tyler Abbott and I are happy to answer any questions you or your colleagues might have.
It appears that Delegate Jacobs has a question, and so does Delegate Healy. But first, Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, in rural parts of the state, there's still challenges on connectability and internet, whatnot. Is this going to be an optional feature or would this be a mandate? Because, if, for instance, we have somebody down on the shore somewhere where they just don't have good internet connectability, they wouldn't be mandated into having the virtual meeting. Could they have one in person?
Yes, yes. Fully support the mood, the sentiment you're expressing, that access to justice and having your voice heard to the government agency is of paramount importance. So we would include procedures to make sure that anytime there is a community or citizen or a resident who wants to be heard but doesn't have the technology, or because of the bandwidth or the lack of internet services, needs to have it in person, that we would have the hearing in person.
Thank you very much for that answer. It clears me up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Healy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Grumbles, thank you for bringing the bill. I do have a question. It's very similar to Delegate Jacobs' question, and that has to do with, especially for the kind of hearings that are for citing things that are maybe unpleasant or unhealthful or having environmental impacts on the immediate vicinity, and if people live near there, especially people in communities that don't have access easily to the internet, whether they're, and it may not be because it's rural, it may be because of economic or linguistic issues that they may have, communities that really need to have personal touch to understand what's going on.
I couldn't agree more with you on the value of in-person actual meetings and participation. What we've learned over the years, though, is that sometimes there is no request, no interest in having to have an in-person actual meeting, and that the virtual meetings can greatly expand the opportunities for those who are interested in being heard, and that the department can save some money. But the top priority is to ensure that those who want to be heard are always heard, and oftentimes contentious regulatory issues really need to have an in-person hearing, and we respect that, and we will, we're committed to that.
Well, let me ask you how you go about informing people that they have the right to request an in-person hearing. How are they notified so that they can make that request?
I can think of several ways. One of them is through the newspapers. That's not always the best way. The second way is through websites and word of mouth. And a third way, one of my favorites, is through direct outreach by the staff of the department who know the stakeholders, know the communities that are impacted, and from our perspective, have a responsibility to reach out and inform about upcoming decisions and opportunities for public involvement. I think in this new age of using virtual formats and technology, that it's never a total substitute to direct personal outreach. So I know that our staffs, our teams in air, water, and land know the value of reaching out to community groups or citizens, and also continuing to post notifications in the newspaper and on our websites and through social media.
You eliminating the mail? Is that as a notice? What was that about?
No, that was to clarify. There was an existing requirement that certified mail be used for notifications. Correct, Tyler?
Yes, that's correct. And then the new provision would just remove the word certified. And so we would be able to use regular postage for sending out the mailing.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Yeah, I imagine, Mr. Secretary, you probably have, your agency probably has a pretty good email list of people who typically are interested, and that's a very quick and efficient way. I'm not saying that should supplant the mail, but that's
right.
Very efficient way to get in touch with a lot of people. Any further questions for the Secretary or Tyler on this bill? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll proceed to the next departmental bill, which is
Thank you.
Senate Bill 190, and this has to do with the Tidal Fisheries Advisory Commission. Would you like to speak on that, Ben? Or Tyler, or whomever? No, it wouldn't be Ben. Who's?
I believe we have Bunky Luffman
Oh,
here to
Bunky.
speak on it.
You're right. Bunky's here to testify on behalf of that. Yeah, go ahead, Bunky.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, Bunky Luffman, Legislative Director for the Department of Natural Resources. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on Senate Bill 190. What it does is it lengthens the committee membership, term of the membership from 2 to 4 years. This mirrors our Sports Fishery Advisory Committee. The difference is Tidal Fishery Advisory Committees with commercial watermen. Sports Fishery Advisory Committee is recreational. So they work really closely together. In fact, a seat on each board is reserved for a member of the other. So they work very collaboratively. The Sports Fishery Advisory Committee is already at a 4-year term. So we're just lengthening this to make it 4 years so they mirror. This bill was amended in the Senate. They changed the effective date from July this year to February next year. And we have no issues with the amendment. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank the committee for your consideration and respectfully request a favorable report.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? And the first question goes to Delegate Gilchrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there term limits on Tidal Fishery Commission members?
I don't believe there are, but I'll have to ask and get back to you.
Do you know how often they meet and where?
They've been meeting virtually recently, but it's quarterly. It's 4 times a year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next question goes to Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Bunky, I don't disagree with this legislation at all, but what is it prospective? How does it fit in with current membership? Members?
Yeah, it would be the next term of whoever, kind of like, if an elected body were to move, it wouldn't be these people, it would be whoever is.
Thank you. That answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Don't see any. So thank you very much. That ends the public hearing on Senate Bill 140. Let's proceed to the last bill of the afternoon, Senate Bill 497. Welcome back to the committee, Senator Gallion.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Good to see everybody again. For the record, Senator Jason Gallion here to introduce Senate Bill 497, deer management permit, hunting on state land leased by permit holder authorization. First off, I'd like to thank the committee and the House delegates for passing the cross file of this bill, HB 592, that was sponsored by Delegate Jacobs. Briefly, this bill authorizes an individual who hunts deer under a deer management permit or a DMP to use a shotgun or breech loading center rifle approved by the Department of Natural Resources to hunt deer throughout the year on state land leased by a permit holder for the purpose of cultivating crops. This bill really is a cleanup bill. It fixes some issues, some unintended consequences from a bill passed 9 years ago. Currently state-owned land that is used to grow crops. For example, the University of Maryland Extension cannot use these permits unless the land is located in certain counties. So with that, I'd ask for a favorable committee report, and if anybody has any questions.
Right. Okay. And nobody else has signed up to testify in the bill. Are there any questions for the good senator? Well, seeing none, Senator, you are free to go.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
You too. All right. That's the end of the public hearings for today. So let's go straight to announcements. Anybody got anything going on? No. Okay, any announcements from non-subcommittee chairs? No. Okay, in that case, you are free to go on your own recognizances. Try to behave yourself. Take care, everybody. See you soon.